Okay, what I've done now is I have taken this entire forearm and I've just gone around all the veins. And you can probably see that they're more defined now. You can see the light, you see the shadows. So that kind of tells you, right now, all I have to do is I've got to start working on the background. And I've got, once I get the background kind of set up, start putting that in, I'm also going to work on the leaves. The leaves will be one of the final shaping I'm going to do, because I'm not going to touch them very much, but I am going to give them a little bit of depth, a little bit of, maybe one side is going to be higher than the other, just to make them all look a little bit different. But as you can see with the leaves right now, they're all just kind of flat. So I mean, they're just, they haven't been touched at all. You'll see some press checkering in some of them, but they do. I'll take that off and I'll give it a little depth, and then this piece will be pretty much shaped. Once the background, all the areas carved, then I'm going to do a little stippling, then the leaves, then it's going to be done, and it'll be kind of final touch-ups here and there, but then I'm going to take and rub over it with I use a Scotch-Brite pad, just kind of take any real sharp edges off it. I will show you that, but as of right now, I'm going to start working on the stippling in the background for this forearm piece. First thing I'm going to do is change out the bit, and I'm going to put in a small carbide, about a number 2 carbide, which is a very small one. Pop this in here. Start the fan up to take the excess dust. Start this up, and I'm just going to go over one small area, and I'll show you what this looks like when it's stippled. Start it right in this little area here. Just basically what you're doing is tapping this little round burr. You're not going very deep. You're just putting little circles in it. There's little indentations in the wood, and what this is doing is it's just giving some depth. Another thing this will do is will give a little bit more of an adhesion area for the stain. Usually the background will end up being a little bit darker than the rest of the stained area, even if you're using the same colors. So that's what the reason for this right here. If this would have been a smooth background and not press checkering, I probably would have just done this in a semi-relief with just kind of areas like I have on the outside areas here, where I've just taken a little bit out just to raise the vein area. But since I had all that area that was all press checkering, I really had to remove that. So that puts me at a point that I got to do a little more work to it, but it's still going to look beautiful when it's done. It's just going to look a little different when you got to remove that. You try to go in a random point. You don't want to necessarily go in any straight lines. You bounce around. You don't want to go too deep. Not enough. You're trying to get a level area. Now, what I'm going to try and do is bring this a little closer so you can see the area I'm working on. I'm going around in a little circle. Little circles all the way around. All I want to do is make sure that I'm not having actual lines. I mean, you'll have sort of a line that'll happen along the edge, but you just kind of bounce back and forth with your tapping so that that's not so noticeable. You can just jump around and do different areas. A good way to do stippling, because it does take a long time, is just to do areas. Just do a box, you know, just going to want to block out one area, just do it, then just, what I do is I just kind of block out a second area and just try to fill that all in. Then I'll maybe block block out a third, just work my way around. That way I get a random look. I'm not going to have these lines that are really going to draw the eye. And that's the key. You know, you don't want something that's going to draw your eye to it. You want it just to look like a background. Just a dull background that really you don't notice. What you notice is the carving of the leaves and the vines here. That's what the whole goal here is, that's all you're going to see. Some folks, when they do this, they really sand it down well and just make it all even. That's totally up to you. I don't do that. I leave kind of variation, a little bit in height, just because it sometimes shows a little more depth and a little more interest in my carving. This is the part where it's going to be, you're going to develop your own style the more you do it. Some people want it totally flat. I don't care to do that. I think it looks better this way, but it's all a personal feel. The more you do your carving, hey, the more it's going to be yours. Yours will be totally different than mine. You can take these and you could use them much bigger if you wanted to, a much bigger, say a number 4 or number 6 carbide bit, circle carbide bit. They would just make larger indentations. Just look, these little circles there, they'd just be larger. What that would do is you'd fill in the area more. You may like the looks of that. That's great. Go ahead and do that. I just like the smaller one for small areas. I think a really big one, a big like a 4 or a 6, would look fine if you're doing a really large area. But if you're doing small areas, you need a little smaller one. Otherwise, you're just going to see 4 or 5 indentations covering a small area, and it just won't look right. So you kind of choose the size carbide to do stippling that works for you. Okay, this is probably the easiest part of carving. It's also the most monotonous. It takes the longest time. If you tend to, over the course of time, if your eyes start crossing and you just get tired, stop. Walk away for a while. You're not in any rush. You're doing something here that you're just trying to eventually get a carving you want, but this is for relaxation. This is not a timed event, so have some fun with it. You need to rest? I'll stop and walk away maybe every half hour to 45 minutes. I'll walk away for a while just so my eyes don't start actually crossing. Now, can you see that difference? If you're looking at it right now, you can see that depth that's coming. Okay, even though we have been putting that indentation, are you noticing that you still have those black lines in there? Those will jump out even more if we were to just put a, just a thin natural coat of, I don't know, tongue oil or something on that order, or polyurethane. So you definitely want to stain that to make those lines go away, because if I were to just put a natural coat on that, even if I wanted the natural color, the lines wouldn't look good. Well, I'm going to do quite a bit more on this, and I'll show you where I am when I'm done.